Hey gang, welcome back to another video. So this week I'm coming to you from the Elmwood Pinewood Cemetery in Charlotte, North Carolina that was established in 1853. And I thought what I would do, since I'm still without a shop, is take a bit of a tour around the cemetery and find some headstones that I find interesting and discuss ways that you might be able to recreate them for a home haunt of your own. So let's get into it.
The first thing that caught my eye was this urn-topped monument. If you've seen our previous haunt, you'll have seen a few of this style monument, and so it was no surprise that I was drawn to it. What's great about this is that all of the interesting parts of it are right at eye level. So you get to see the draping over the urn as well as the draping and fringe along the edge without having to go out of your way, which is a great point to remember when designing anything. It's almost always the right decision to put the most important or most interesting things at eye level, and if you don't, put it in a place where you want to draw people's attention. If I were to recreate this, I'd start with a store-bought or even 3D printed urn, and then I'd find some fabric and stitch or hot glue some fringe trim to it to complete the look. Then I'd submerge it in some monster mud and drape it over the top. Thankfully, monster mud has a decent working time, so you can really finesse the draping to get it looking just how you want. If you're not familiar with monster mud, I'll drop a link to my video all about it in the video description. I also appreciate that the epitaph on this monument is really plain. When you've already got a bunch going on, it can get too busy and ruin the overall aesthetic. So simple definitely wins in this situation. The other thing that caught my eye on this monument was the color and texture of the moss. It's a dark gray undertone and then yellow and topped off with a chartreuse green. There's also some hints of a reddish brown along the corner, which just makes it so much more interesting and dynamic. Adding this type of moss could be accomplished with a bit of glue and some paint mixed into sawdust or even sand, and applied in a few layers to build up the texture a bit more. The overall build for this could be done out of wood, but I'd use XPS insulation foam to help keep the weight down. Plus it's easier to carve your epitaph into foam than it is into wood. Now this little monument was something I'd never seen at any of the cemeteries I'd visited, and I thought it was interesting. I don't know that it would work in most haunt situations, but I threw it in there just in case. The next tombstone is a great example of simple and effective use of space. The way the epitaph nestles right into the negative space to the right of the draped fabric helps to balance it out, but still keeps the focus on the epitaph. I also like that the soft draping is in juxtaposition to the angular tombstone shape. Plus it's substantial. Even though it's only roughly 3.5 feet tall, the overall proportions and weight made it stand out from its neighbors, and it's another one that could be made from a block of foam and stacking thinner strips of foam to create all of the stair-stepping along the base. While this next piece isn't a tombstone, it's something that I see at a lot of cemeteries and even inside of Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. These Grecian urns are a staple piece, and you can still find them online or even at yard sales. This one is on the smaller size, which is great if you have a smaller yard haunt with scaled-down tombstones like we did. I saw this next trio of tombstones on a previous visit, and oddly enough found myself standing in front of them again on this visit. What I like about them is that they're all essentially the same base shape, but have different adornments that give them each their own unique look. The outer tombstone styles could be accomplished using some wooden trim pieces that are often sold at big box hardware stores for the top decorative element, and the rest would be a simple bold-type epitaph with a thin frame around it. The middle tombstone has more draping, but this one has a book on top, plus a lily resting along the top edge of an extruded plaque-style epitaph. So lots of add-ons to help differentiate it from its neighbor. The book could be an actual book or even made from EVA foam or cardboard and then coated in monster mud, set atop of some fabric prepared just like the first monument at the beginning of this video. The lily could be a silk flower dipped into more monster mud and pinned or glued to the foam to keep it in place. You'll notice there's a ton of additional text below the name and date, which is nearly impossible to read. But if you wanted to add that level of detail and realism, I'd make my text carving super shallow so that they'd fill up once you painted it. This next tombstone isn't particularly interesting in its design or composition, but what I liked about it is that it's clearly been broken in half and put back together. but not perfectly. So it casts a shadow along the break, and that's what drew my eye to it. Of course, the lichen that are growing on it are fantastic too, and would make a great addition to any tombstone or monument in your haunt, assuming you're in a climate that gets them. While I typically don't go for this look, I couldn't deny how creepy this small monument was, and so I figured I'd add it to the video. The base is very plain and could be made using a styrofoam box and a few smaller pieces of 2-inch thick foam. As for the statue, you could probably find something similar at a dollar store or yard sale. You'll just want to fill in the neck and the wrists with a small amount of expanding foam, and then dunk the whole thing in Monster Mud before painting it a uniform color. As I made my way around the back edge of the cemetery, I saw this monument and thought it was really unique. From the shape of the urn on top to the round shoulder caps, plus the willow tree and other ornamental carvings all over made this one a real head-turner. The urn on top could be made from an old jar and a pillar candle holder from the dollar store, or carved from multiple pieces of foam and assembled before being added to a squared block. The shoulders, while they may look challenging, are not as bad if you break them into their individual shapes. I would start by making the top pyramid shape as my base, and then would cut the rounded pieces from separate chunks of foam before trimming off the back into an angle that matches the pyramid shape. Then they'd get glued in place and all of the seams blended with a bit of caulking, and your shoulder cap is complete. The midsection has a slight taper to it, which I think is a detail that shouldn't be left out on monuments like this one, and then there's a few stair steps and different thicknesses of foam that make up the base. Now I know that it's not as easy as I made it all sound, but I hope to actually make some of these for our future haunt, so I'll get into the nitty-gritty in those videos. This last monument reminded me of the one Mrs. Van Oaks and I made for our haunt. But what's so great about this statue is that the pose tells a story of loss and sorrow without any explanation. The hand to her face, the rolled shoulders, and the single exposed foot tells you everything that you need to know. Now, if you want to know more about how we built our monument, there's a video about it that's linked in the video description that you should definitely check out. In a haunt situation, this would be a great piece to add lighting to so that you can catch all of the shadows and the rolls of fabric and just under the face. Plus, the dark staining on white stone is really unique, and I think it's something a lot of haunters shy away from, but would absolutely add to the realism of a cemetery haunt.
So there you have it, a few of my favorites for my new local cemetery. Hopefully some of these were inspiring to you and might get your creative wheels turning for this Halloween. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, go make something.